the past year plus, I've been trying to sketch out my idea of a vlog. And lately, where I've been getting stuck is wanting to incorporate visual effects and animation into my vlogs, but visual effects and animation don't really make sense in a vlog, at least not traditionally. A vlog is basically a documentary or a home movie, and throwing CGI in there would just really mess with the vibe. Or would it? The thing about vlogging for me is I don't have all that much to vlog. I'm holed up in my home office all the time, staring at Slack, sitting on Zoom, trying to learn Blender. Meanwhile, the vlogs I'd like to watch are of people out in the world actually doing things. And here I am basically being a house cat. But what if I'm not looking at it in the right way? Vlogs are basically peeks into people's lives. But what about their inner lives? Like, couldn't that be captured in a vlog? Obviously, my answer is going to be yes, but with one big caveat. It has to feel natural, at least in the context of the vlog, which is why I've come up with a set of 3 visual language rules. Handmade, home movie, sketchy. A lot of this comes down to, I really just prefer the raw look of sketches to finished works. Also, I don't really have the time, let alone the skills yet, to create very polished visual effects or animations. But really it comes down to, I want my vlogs to feel like a form of magical realism, with the magical augmenting the realism, not the other way around. As for how I'm putting this into practice, one tool I'm trying out is Dehancer Pro, which is a film emulation plugin to give videos more of an old school look. Let me be clear, Dehancer is not paying me to make this video, and they don't have any say over what I say in the video. That said, they did offer me a free trial of Dehancer Pro, and if I choose to make a video about it, I get a free license. Also, they gave me this discount code, so if you want to pick up Dehancer Pro, you can use the code TDP, that's just the letters TDP, and you get 10% off, and I get a cut of that sale, which would be much appreciated because I could use that money to invest back into the vlog. All right, so with all of that being said, obviously I've been using Dehancer Pro throughout this video, and it's helped me to create more of a home movie look, but then also to match the aesthetics between the visual effects that I'm putting into shots and then the shots themselves. And I found it to be pretty easy to use. I have it set up in DaVinci Resolve, but there's also versions that work with Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, Final Cut Pro. And the whole idea is to be able to take like these old school film looks and apply them to video, but then also being able to add things like film grain and scratches and halation, things that kind of dirty the look up, which is perfect for me because I want to go for more of that raw, sketchy aesthetic. You know, something that looks like a home movie my dad may have shot on his camcorder back in the 90s, or an old family photo album from when we used to take pictures on vacation with like those disposable cameras. So here we are in DaVinci Resolve. Got the Dehancer Pro plugin. I'm applying it at the timeline level because I want the look to be consistent across all of the clips. So I've already comped in like the shot where I have the flowers blooming out of the mug. The whole thing with Dehancer Pro is you can apply film looks to video clips, which is great. It's also great that there are so many different film profiles that you can apply. My challenge is I don't know any of these film profiles. I was never a film photographer, let alone a film maker, like an actual film. So when I go through this list and I see Kodak Portra 800, Kodak Portra 400, Kodak Portra 160 VC, Kodak Portra 160 NC, Kodak Portra 160. I don't know what the difference is between all of these, let alone what effect they'll have, like what looks they create. So yeah, I can just go through and be selecting different ones and applying it, see if I like the look, change and apply. But I wish there was some way that Dehancer would categorize the looks so that I know, okay, these are the black and white looks. These are the low contrast looks. These are the high contrast looks. These are the looks that add warmth. These are the looks that cool down an image. Just something that gives me a better way to navigate all the different film profiles and have a sense of like, okay, what is the aesthetic? What are the characteristics of this film profile? Maybe it's just the kind of thing where like, the more you use the tool, the more familiar you are with the different looks, and you develop kind of like a, okay, here are my favorite looks. In which case, then it'd be nice to be able to favorite different film profiles so that it's easier to reference those in the future. All right, we're gonna go with Kodak Portra 160, but it cools down the image, so I'm gonna need to bring up the warmth quite a bit. So one thing I remember from looking at family photo albums is that the old photos were pretty contrasty, and this image is fairly flat off the bat. So one thing I want to do is add more of that contrast, but then figure out how to, like, while adding that contrast, there's a softness to it, while also kind of that like glossy sheen. And so what I'm gonna rely on for this one is the print profile, which again, I'm not a film person, so I don't really know Cineon film log versus Kodak 2383 print film, but there's only a few options. So toggling on Kodak Endura glossy paper creates some of that depth to the image, that softness while contrast that I'm going for. I'm gonna skip film grain for now. Vignette, that's another thing. You look at old photos, they have a bit of a vignette. It can be hard to see, but it's there. So let's add a vignette. It gives, again, a little bit more of that contrast, but in a soft way, which is really the look that I'm going for here. And then bloom. Should we try bloom? Let's try bloom. Okay, I like bloom because it does soften out a bit of that contrast, but not in a way where it removes the contrast. It just eases it. And I guess the final one, film grain. Do we want film grain? Not that much film grain. Maybe just bring it down a little bit just to help things out. Also, I shot this at ISO 12800 because I'm shooting on the FX3. So there is a bit of noise in the shots anyways in the shadows. So film grain is going to help to cover over that, in addition to just creating more cohesion across the shots. And one thing I really like is by adding Dehancer at the timeline level, it also then applies to like the Procreate screen recording that I have to open the video, which I also really like how that looks. I think what we've ended up with has that family photo album look that I was going for. It's definitely a look, but that's the whole point. Like, I get that vlogs get knocked for being highlight reels, but why not highlight what's real? Like, why not make a little bit of magic out of the mundane?